Alright, as I promised other famous electronics Rafale owners, I got my plane to fly right after, just small mods here and there. So, one of the mods that I want to talk about is with the stock battery, how I shifted center of gravity from the factory to one that I found helped, the aircraft fly the best here. So, we've got the stock battery here, 1300 milliamp. I want to say it's a 20C 3 cell, but if you look back here, I scored out about half an inch of foam. I wanted to keep it tight around the diameters of the battery, so what you're looking at here is keeping it, from bouncing around in flight, being loose and everything. Another thing is this aircraft came with a pilot. I made it to where I used EPP foam to just go ahead and pressure it into, uh, the cockpit area, and during the flights, because it is a plastic RC lander pilot, it's heavy. So when I do apply it to the aircraft, it is simply for looks and storage only, or if I'm just going to tax it around, just bored doing stupid stuff. So other than that, another mod of mine to protect the canopy Lexan is a thin sheet of plastic here. It's very, very fragile. So I made formers out of Depron and glue them in place with a two-part epoxy, and it helps with the removing as well as the applying of the canopy to the aircraft. Another mod is this little clevis here. Not even so much a clevis, but this supporting rod here, connecting rod. What I've done was I ensured that this portion of the landing gear was pushed down as far as it can so that that set screw would grab it at the very top and apply some Loctite and tighten it down as tight as I could. I haven't had any problems with it. This gives the aircraft a nose-up incidence, so that you have an angle of attack as you start your takeoff run. Also, another thing I've done with this aircraft to help with the not wanting to pitch up in flight is shifting the main landing gear from its stock position to right aft of the center of gravity point. Alright, so this helps with early rotations, and it really truly does help with the the flared landings as well. Um, I'm just hoping that the video will capture it, but I have these little supporting brackets here. Okay, it helps with the flexing of this really thin control rod. And what I've done is I actually utilized GWS's control horns, because the stock control horns had a lot of slop, where the aileron would just sit there and flap around. So couple that with a very thin, flexible control rod, I guess with enough speed and a very nose-heavy aircraft out of the factory, they would flex back to neutral and not allow the aircraft to rotate or even climb. It would just want to nose back down into the ground and just bounce around. So another thing that I did, which is to help with scale, is I extended the canards out a bit, and I also gave it some sweep to the back, just like the real Rafale. Also, the intakes I extended. Normally, they would go about this far on the actual scale Rafale, just aft the leading edge of the canard, but I didn't want to mess with the airflow too much, so what I did was I extended that, and it did not affect its flight characteristics at all. Another thing I like to do with all my aircraft is that aftermarket ordnance is scarce on the market. What I do is I create my own. So what I do is I take these little metal plates and I take these magnets, apply them. Once I manufacture my own ordnance, I'll just put them on where they're required. Uh, they also serve a dual purpose here. These things actually help with the adjustment of the center of gravity as well. I make them heavy on purpose because I don't like my planes to be too light. It has been quite windy during the winter and going into the spring here in Virginia, so a little more weight helps with better tracking, helps with adjusting center of gravity. So Other than that, she flies great. I'm happy with her. Um, Almost gave up on her. I just figured it was probably just a design flaw with this particular airplane. Maybe the mods to the canard or the intake may have affected the airflow into the intake or the way it flew. But it turns out it was just a center of gravity issue. So I'm really hoping that displaying these mods that I performed on this aircraft prevent it from crashing, of course. Um, Nobody ever likes to lose an aircraft, even though they're inexpensive to replace. Their availability is just almost next to none as of today. The only place I can find this aircraft is naturalplanes.com, and you just never know. They're just not going to last. So, all right, well, thanks, and hope it helps.